Hello gorgeous people, Grace here, Bicodonia, and this morning we are going to talk about the seat height of the KLX230 Standard Edition. Now the seat height of the Standard Edition is 885 millimeters or 34.8 inches for our American friends. So this refers to the standard model, and it's also true for the special edition, which is basically the standard model, the dual sport model, but with ABS. Now you can also get the KLX 230R, and the R is a different animal. It's a dirt bike, and it has a very different seat height. It is 925 millimeters, which is considerably different. So 36.4 inches versus 34.8 inches. But of course, what you're looking at now is this standard edition. Now come with me and we'll look at it from the uphill side. Now I am 165 centimeters tall. That's about 5'4", and my inseam measurement is about 800 millimeters, which is 31.5 inches. So I'm not tall at all, but I am really thrilled at how manageable the height of this bike is for me, especially in really challenging terrain. Now, as you can see, I cannot flat foot the bike with both feet at the same time. It's a matter of tiptoes on both sides. However, if I do want to get my foot down flat, it's just a case of moving my body position slightly to the left or the right, and then I can get my foot down and it feels really solid and comfortable. The bike is not top heavy, so I feel confident throwing it around as much as I need to as well. Now come with me for a little dirt bike ride in the forest, and you will see how all of these specs translate into reality out on the trail. You'll see that it's really easy for me to put a foot down when I need to and feel strong and confident as I do that, which is great because you never know what the trails are going to throw at you. Today we are out riding in the mountains of northern Thailand, and it can be pretty hard to see the rocks concealed under the fallen leaves at this time of year. That means a lot of moments where you're getting knocked slightly off your line and possibly slightly off balance, which can be super challenging on a taller bike. As you can see, my friend in front of me is riding a CRF 450 RL with its standard seat height. The standard seat height on that bike is 37.2 inches, that's 945 millimeters. It is a really tall bike. And my friend riding it is a good 4 or 5 inches taller than me. But you can still see that the height of the bike is a bit of a struggle. Meanwhile, I am just cruising along with both of my feet down whenever I need it. Now, just for comparison purposes, keep in mind that the KLX230R, the dirt bike edition, is 36.4 inches in seat height, so that is just under an inch shorter than the CRF 450 RL. Now let's talk about the limitations that come along with this seat height. Here we have a nice looking log, and in order to get over it with this bike, I'm going to need to do a double blip wheelie. As you can see, I am not doing a double blip wheelie because I am actually not that good. Instead, it's going to be a pretty inelegant maneuver as I pop the front wheel over and then try and get the back through as well. And here is where it becomes relevant. Front wheel over, and now we are beached as bro on the bash plate, because here's the thing, the standard edition KLX 230 might be easy to touch the ground, but it doesn't have a great deal of ground clearance. So ground clearance on this bike is 265 millimeters or 10.4 inches. Compare that to the R edition, which has a 300mm ground clearance or 11.8 inches. So the moral of the story is if you want to ride a bike that's this much lower, you're going to need to work on your double blip technique so that you don't get beetled on logs like I do. So there are definitely pros and cons. Now, thinking about the suspension, as you'd imagine, the standard edition has less suspension travel than the R edition as well. And I can confirm that I have bottomed out the front forks just riding along kind of normally and hitting a pothole on the road. But this is to be expected when you're riding a budget bike with low seat height and low ground clearance and low suspension travel. Now, watching me ride around in the scrub like this, you're probably wondering why I didn't buy the R edition, which is obviously designed for riding around in the scrub like this a whole lot more than the standard. The answer is here in Thailand, I can't get legitimate papers for the R edition to ride it on the road. Low clearance doesn't just become an issue when you're riding over logs, it also becomes an issue when you're in really deep ruts. Now, this bit here is totally fine. It's not a really deep rut, but it did remind me of a few ruts I've ridden. And if you're riding a bike that's not very tall, you're going to get your foot pegs, going to get your brake and your gear lever and your engine all stuck in that rut, while you watch your mates on taller bikes wheelie away. Now, what's my point here? My point is that being able to flatfoot your motorcycle should not be your first priority in motorcycle selection. Being able to get one foot down and feel comfortable is awesome, and the KLX230 Standard Edition is really good for that if you're 5'4" like I am. But if you're taller than me and you're going to ride any kind of dirt, I would totally recommend going for the R edition. Assuming, of course, that legal compliance is not an issue for you. The R edition is lighter, it's more powerful, it's got longer suspension travel, it's got more ground clearance. Yes, it does have a taller seat height. But if my mate can ride hard enduro on a CRF 450 RL, then I'm pretty sure you can do it on a KLX 230R. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents worth on seat height and the KLX 230. I have been thoroughly enjoying fanging around the jungle on this little bike. It has taken a lot of punishment. To be fair, I did only get 220 kilometers out of the first clutch, and I'm still not entirely sure why. But otherwise, it's proving to be a fairly hardy little beast. Now, my final word on setup, as I said, I'm 165 centimeters, I'm 5'4" tall. I do not have bar risers on the bike, and I find the foot peg position and the bar position to be really, really comfortable. When I'm riding the bike standing up, I have no issues whatsoever. For someone of my dimensions, the bike is a really good fit and eminently manageable, even though I am not the strongest person in the world. Anyway, whatever bike you ride, get out there on the trails, have some fun, stay safe, and I will catch you later.